Welcome. I want to show you what is possible to create from nothing in a very short time. I want to show you how every challenge can be a blessing and opportunity for transformation and growth. With sharing my story, I want to inspire, and most importantly, I want to open hearts.
Hi, you might remember me or you might not. I used to do art tutorials on this channel when I was still a teenager. Now I'm 30 years old with a toddler, still an artist and living my dream. For years I have been dreaming about having my own garden, fruit trees, chickens, surrounded by green beauty and life, and living in a house in this green oasis. And this year this has become my reality.
For years, I investigated self-sustainability and worked on ways to make this my reality, and decided to create my oasis here, in my home country Slovenia, a small gem in the middle of Europe, blessed with fertile soil, gentle weather, a country with a good social security system and kind nature people, a perfect place for raising a child and having a garden. But to get to that part, I first need to share a short summary of the hardships that have helped me get here. Create a loving relationship with myself, with my toddler, with other people in my life, and find this deep peace that is now my state of being for the most part. The hardships were necessary, and please do not feel bad for me that they happened. I needed them all in exactly the strength they have arrived. So, as I mentioned, it wasn't all smooth riding to get here. In 22, I got pregnant with my then partner, whom we have just decided to build this house together. We were overjoyed, everything seemed so perfect. And soon after, with my then partner, we had issues we were not able to overcome despite our best efforts, and we decided to separate. This was right after all the house papers were finalized and we have just started building the house. At the time, I still had various issues of my own. I had an anxiety disorder, panic attacks. I was not able to drive for years and did not have a car. The baby, who was then barely 1 year old, kept crying most of the day and had these crying spells that would last for hours and were inconsolable. He kept waking up crying through the night, and this was 15 to 30 times a night, every night. Imagine getting woken every 10 minutes with somebody screaming in your ear. And then during the day they're again just screaming, and the night finally comes and you are so exhausted and you just want to sleep. But you can't. The screaming continues, and it continues for weeks and months ahead. We all suspected he is still in the trauma loop we have suffered at birth, as the birth itself was largely traumatic, and I needed months of therapy and alternative energy work to process and get through it myself, mentally and physically. After 4 hell-like days of active labor complications and finally getting the baby out, along with the newfound love and joy of being able to care for this beautiful, perfect little human we have created, we were physically and mentally in a really bad state. And without going into too much detail, I will just say those were the hardest times of my life. So going back to when the baby is 1 year old, with his dad we separate, and in the middle of just starting with the houseworks. So this was also the time when I have returned to full-time work, launched my side art business to make more money for the house, was learning how to drive, and at the same time, as if this one alone was not enough, was building a house, now on my own. What followed after 7 months, of course, was a last stage burnout and my body shutting down. And in a burnout, to recover, you absolutely need to rest all day and get proper sleep. But remember, I'm not sleeping here, most nights not sleeping at all. Bringing my son to multiple alternative doctors, as the conventional one had no answers, was that he's perfectly well, possibly recovering from birth trauma, probably mostly reacting to my internal state of stress, irritation. The advice I always got was to calm myself, rest, get help, get proper sleep. Yes, but how? Tell me, how can I sleep if my baby refuses to sleep with anyone else, but keeps waking up with nightmares with me as well? How can I not be irritated if I have not slept in more than a year? How can I relax if I need a house built until a certain date so we can move into it when we need to leave the current apartment? It was not an easy cycle to get out of. I'm sure there were solutions, but at the time I could not see or find them. I was in the survival tunnel vision of just getting through each day without dying and somehow paying for it all. I will leave hardships at this now, as how I got through them is not as important. The biggest blessing was seeing how they are helping me, how I can learn from them, what bottled up feelings, which limiting beliefs I can release. Through all these experiences we could, I think, all justifiably call incredibly hard, I got the biggest blessings I could have ever received. I have always been reading a lot. Books have been and stayed one of my biggest loves since I can remember. And I had a lot of knowledge and information I was not actually living and using. You know, when you're a bit uncomfortable, but if the uncomfort is not too big, it's easier just to ignore it, brush it off, distract yourself with something, not look at it, not deal with it. I had a lot of those little discomforts. Some I knew I could have fixed them. Some I had no idea even existed, as I was too afraid to even look at them properly. And so going through life you accumulate more and more of them, becoming less aware they are even there. And so they press on you, they wait on you, they scare you, without you even realizing anymore what is causing the feelings in the first place. So when situations come that are just too hard to ignore or brush off, you're basically forced to look at all the ways you yourself are causing yourself the pain you're experiencing. The hardest experiences can be the biggest blessings because they force us to look at the problems, to face them, to work through them. Releasing all those has felt like tons of weight being lifted and thrown down. I feel so much lighter, freer and happier now that I cannot believe I thought my previous reality, my previous self was what I believed to be my limit, and just what or who I am. We are so much more than our limiting beliefs. We are so much more capable, so much stronger, so much lighter, and so much more full of love. And I can now see I was never building the house on my own as I believed. So many people worked on it, did extra work they wanted no extra payment for. My family helped me so much, friends, co-workers, my neighbors helped us through many impossible problems, and all with a smile. So many situations aligned that solved impossible problems. It was just remarkable. I used to be agnostic and not believe in a higher power. But after all these experiences that I'm still living and getting blessed with help from different directions every single day, I believe there is a higher power, which at this stage I am at right now I am calling the universe. I believe this can be the same as God, that there is only one God and that the names universe, source, energy, light, God, love are all one and only. And don't get me wrong, I still do experience hardship. I still do get problems I need to work through every day. And of course, taking care of a toddler by itself is a lot of chaos, even though now he's so much calmer. Most nights he sleeps through the night. He loves helping me work in the garden, cook. He's cuddly, full of smiles and such deep love. I have the most wonderful neighbors and friends from work. They are showering me and my toddler with love. Smiles, their homegrown fruits, vegetables, eggs, every day. By releasing my baggage, I have developed a much better connection and relationship with everyone in my life. The lighter, freer, and happier I am, the more happy and kind people I see and receive into my life. And this is the next message I want to share. The more energy you give to something, the more you think about it, more you watch or read about it, whether it's positive or negative, the more of that you get. Similar to how on YouTube you get surrounded by videos of what you like watching, what you believe in, and then sometimes you see someone else's YouTube recommendations or the default YouTube feed, and you can't believe this is even the same app. They are surrounded by a completely different reality, completely different kind of people and teams appearing on the videos. It's a good analogy for the world, what you believe in, what you surround yourself with. This is your world, this is your feed of what more you get. So I personally am not watching any news, negative movies, nothing that induces fear or anger in me. After COVID, I disabled notifications for all news because for me, it was bringing me nothing else but negativity, drama, lies, manipulation. I do not need those in my world, and this is my reality. I haven't had a TV in my home in more than 12 years. I do watch movies sometimes on my iPad, but this is with intent and what I consciously choose to watch, not to silence my mind, my feelings, and get away from my thoughts or boredness. I actually do not get bored. In fact, I haven't gotten bored in years. I can't even remember how that feels. There's always so much to do, so many books to read, so many places to visit. So many talks to have, so many dishes to cook and enjoy. So many things to create. TV, social media, news or games cannot give me that joy. Compared to the real joy, it is for me a simple reflection of the joy and love I can feel while creating, learning, researching, connecting with myself or others. A reflection that is blurred, numbed down, combined with adrenaline that gives us large spikes of satisfaction and works like a drug, but does not feed or satisfy me, does not calm me. Surrounded by knowledge, ideas in the books, beauty of the art, connections and conversations with others, serenity with the landscapes, plants, myself, I can feel my depth, my love, and I feel a deep peace. This is something no screen can give me. And just imagine how much time we get if we do not give it to the television, news, social media, people or situations that do not resonate with us, that do not lift us up or help us feel closer with ourselves and more at peace with ourselves. Just imagine it. How much can you discover? How much can you create? How deeply can you connect with yourself, your children, your family, if you do not spend that time numbing and distracting yourself? Can you remember the times when you were still a child, without a care or a responsibility in the world? Just being, feeling joy for every little new thing you discovered in the garden, in an old house, in books, in relationships. Can you remember the joy the child feels for discovering anything really? Do you remember how alive you felt when you found new ideas, new worlds of knowledge? When you met someone new, the excitement you felt when you discovered something novel about them that is unique to just them? The feeling of discovery that is not unlike peeling an onion, layer by layer, each one a world of itself. Have you ever gotten into a relationship like this with yourself? Have you discovered just how much depth and layers you can discover inside yourself? Just how much kindness, acceptance, and love you can feel by going down that road, letting yourself be, letting yourself feel, letting yourself release what you kept bottling up for years and years? If your answer is no, just the thought of it can be scary. Think all the pain, all the thoughts you do not want to have, remembering the injustices that have happened to you. the feelings of irritation or anxiety you do not know how quite to get rid of or what they are all about. They are loud if you still have things to discover about yourself, things to let go, things to release. But you can, we all can. I believe this is the point of anything that happens really. Getting above what has happened to us, seeing ahead of our shortcomings and the wrongdoings we have received. How does anger and resentment help us in achieving our dreams? How do they help us create a life for ourselves that we want? How do they help us feel a deep peace and love? They do not. They block us in all these ways. Release them. Forgive. Forgive for yourself if not for the other. Forgive so you can be free. So you can again feel the pure joy, pure peace, pure love you still remember from your childhood. There is such beauty in feeling the whole spectrum of emotions fully. Even crying, sadness, the ones you perceive as bad. But emotions are not good or bad, correct or wrong. They are just natural responses to what we are experiencing and perceiving. Emotions help us experience our reality fully, feel it fully, learn from it fully. They can become a true gift if we know how to welcome it. What you believe is what you get. Wake up, open your heart, remember who you are.